Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to John Deadly Speaks. I'm your host, who was a junior in college when this album was announced. For context, I'm now 57 years old. Today's episode of John's Perspective is a double feature once again. I also have my review of No Worries' sophomore record, Why Laud, out on the channel now. Check it out. Former Fifth Harmony member Normani is handily one of the most successful artists to emerge from that group, with Camila Cabello having the most mainstream success so far. However, Normani's journey into pop superstardom has been a rocky one, to say the least. Starting off with the 2018 single Love Lies, Normani was off to a good start post-disbandment, signing to Keep Cool under RCA, and boasting a feature run that gained her extra exposure. Her collaborations with Calvin Harris and Sam Smith in particular garnered substantial chart success that led to her opening for Ariana Grande on the Sweetener tour. Then her biggest single yet, Motivation, co-written by Ariana herself, was released, with an outstanding video calling back to 2000s pop icons like Beyonce, Ciara, and Britney Spears. From there, you'd think that she'd be ready to release her much-anticipated debut solo record, but it got pushed. She appeared on the 2020 Birds of Prey soundtrack, dropped Wild Side with Cardi B in 2021, Fair in 2022, and then also appeared on Calvin Harris's Funk Wave Bounces Volume 2 in the same year, but still no album. Then things started to add up when, in August of last year, Normani split from her old management company and signed a new agreement, likely suggesting that the former was causing the holdup of her debut. Finally, February of this year, we've received cover art, and in April, we got a release date. The thing is, after so much time, pop has changed significantly. So is there a way that Dopamine can capture our attention in this new climate, while also playing on what we liked about Normani's early solo work? Surprisingly, after so many hindrances and hang-ups, I'd have to say yes, more or less. Tommy Brown, who has most notably worked with Victoria Monet and Ariana Grande in the past, helms this production, and while it's not the most refined palette, it does suit Normani's voice pretty well. The trap-heavy R&B of Big Boy, as well as the singles 159 and Candy Paint, boast slinky grooves with thick bass lines, varying from Renaissance-era dance pop, SOS-inspired balladry, and 90s pop R&B by way of Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson. Still is a neo-R&B hybrid highlight that mixes southern rap samples with intergalactic synths, and the trap 808s on Lights On and All Yours are filled with resounding energy and drive. And the James Blake featuring Tantrums uses Blake himself to Normani's advantage, tossing an atmospheric alt-pop blend into the mix. I did feel like the straightforward pop of Little Secrets, Take My Time, and the Stargate-assisted Insomnia were meant for other artists, as it doesn't exactly connect with the steamy pop R&B of the previous tracks. It kind of makes sense given the former's laundry list of producer credits, which bleeds over into the incomprehensible choice of the closer Wild Side, which was already released 3 years ago. But overall, it's a passable to well-executed production assortment that lends Normani a set of respectable instrumentals to work with. Modern pop, like many of the eras before it, lean on broad subjects related to love and sex and relationships, and as expected, Normani's debut deals with these themes. But it's what an artist does with the predictable that allows them to flourish and connect with the audience, and Normani definitely connects more than she stumbles. Distance is a massive highlight lyrically, commenting on the importance of space in the event of emotional unavailability from one's partner. And Insomnia, while basic, does speak on important themes about backsliding into a relationship that you thought you had moved on from. Normani's confidence is at a high here, with Still, Candy Paint, and Grip, though heavy-handed, providing her a carefree aura. However, one thing that I do think hinders this project, once again, is the laundry list of writing credits. This is nothing new in the industry, but since most of the writing arrangements are centered around pretty simplistic pop R&B ideas, it does make the record come off as overlabored and wonky. Normani wears her influences on her sleeve throughout this record, with shades of Brandy, Victoria Monet, Rihanna, and Beyonce all over this project. And for the most part, she delivers and does justice to all of these artists, perpetuating their sound, vocal timbre, tone, and delivery. The vibrato on Distance is to die for, while Normani's monotone vocals on Grip exude sexiness, showing off her versatility and balance in her approach to the mic. She also has a ton of fun on the pop tracks, even if the tracks themselves aren't too much to write home about. But where the album lost me at times was Normani's intermittent lack of identity, relying a little too hard on her influences to guide her through the track listing. So I think there's a bit of a disconnect in what she's actually trying to accomplish with her performance at the end of the day.
Still tipping on fofo, wrapped in bobo, pimpin' fo hoes, and I'm packing fofo.
At 41 minutes, this album breezes by for the most part, and the track lengths rarely eclipse 3.5 minutes, so this is definitely not a record that overstays its welcome. At the same time though, there is a mismatch in the level of quality and consistency as we progress, so when we hit that early to mid section of Lights On, Take My Time, and Insomnia, it really starts to drag. The back end is far more successful, with hits like 159 and Tantrums really propping up Normani's strengths, but if there's anything that lets down the project, it's the final 2 tracks that really suck the wind out of the momentum of the record, leaving us with an overblown penultimate track in Little Secrets. And then to close it with a 2021 single that doesn't hit the same way that it did back then, it just seemed that there's a lack of clarity and focus on what this album was supposed to be.
And here is G.I. Joe with Kung Fu.
So yeah, I enjoyed this album far more than I thought I would, and though there are huge missteps and misguided spots, overall it's a solid pop record that puts Normani in a good position on where she could go next. And hopefully it won't be a 6-year wait again. But hey, that's just my perspective. If you're a Normani fan, you gotta be thrilled that you finally get to experience this one. And if you want an R&B trap fusion record with pop foundations, this album has that in spades. Alright, that's all I got. Bye!